All right, we are live, and the New York Mets just got swept for the first time this season. June 22nd.
Listen,
Is it a sweep?
2-game sweep.
So
you gotta say 2-game sweep.
So this is what I'm gonna say. Is it a sweep or is it like a dustpan where you have the little broom and the little dustpan? Like it's not a full blown big broom, right? We're not dealing. And a vacuum is a 4-game sweep.
We got the floors cleaned. We got Swiffered. We didn't get swept.
Yes.
We got not a Swiffer wet jet. The OG Swiffer that you just kind of give it a once over. We got Swiffered. We didn't get swept.
And let me tell you who the like wet part of the Swiffer is. Yordan Alvarez is the baddest, biggest,
bad man,
meanest motherfucker I have ever seen in my life.
Man. I mean, we got through it in the 1 inning, but when they hit Bregman to get to him, I was like, I mean, what are we fucking doing here? He is scary. Well, finish up and we'll get into it because the Astros are a problem, bro.
Yeah, so I was tweeting it out during the first game, and I was like, just based on the stories, like Gary, Keith, and Ron did a good job preparing us for Alvarez as someone that is a very like casual fan outside of the Mets. I just basically 162 with the Mets. I know my surroundings in the NL East, have an idea what else is going on in the NL. Could not give less of a fuck about the American League, other than like everyone roots against the Yankees as Mets fans, right? You just do that. And they were just telling me, like, they're like referencing stats where Ted Williams is the only guy to do stuff at this rate and better than DiMaggio. I'm like, holy shit, this guy. And I'm like tweeting out like this. I'm blindly more scared of him than pretty much every player. Cause I think Mike Trout still is like the gold standard of who you fear, especially after we had to face him. And then we faced him. And as I was tweeting that out, he hit the fucking first home run. And I was like, holy shit. And all he did was just shove it up our motherfucking asses. So this was a good like reminder. Hey, listen, it's not just the Dodgers. It's not just the Giants, not just the Braves and our quote unquote gauntlet. This was the gauntlet. Fuck the fucking West Coast trip. This was the fucking gauntlet.
No, that's what I was saying. Like we ended up handling the Marlins, but like Marlins into Houston, back to Marlins, back to Houston. If the Marlins were the thorn in the side that they always are, that is a worse gauntlet because the Astros are fucking disgusting. I mean, thank God they are in the AL. Thank God we'll have to face them in the World Series only because they are gross, dude. I mean, like I also think that they're a good, they're a good team with everybody. I think that they'll sweep next week too. Like I have a feeling the Astros will be like a team that the Mets are just not touching right now. We are not built to fight them right now. Not with the injuries, not with the way we play. Like we need to do some work if we're going to see them, God willing, in, late October.
That was like the demoralizing loss where it felt like there was nothing we could do to come back.
Right.
Like we can string together along some hits and then they just get up and hit another fucking home run and you're like, Jesus Christ. Like, it's just like they're relentless. Just like
I know, Meek, you had said when we were talking in the group chat, you thought they were going to get another shot in 7, 8, 9. When we had bases loaded, 1 out and didn't, I was like, they're not.
I mean, they had the tying run up to bat in both the 7th and 8th, I'm pretty sure. That's what I meant.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's also different when you have just a 2-1 lead. Like, you get one man on, you're going to get the tying run to the plate. But I do feel like that was, we needed to capitalize right then and there. But they are like the Dodgers, the Dodgers, I think right now are living a little bit off their reputation because they are banged up and they are like, not the juggernaut they once were. And nobody else in the NL, like really like scared. Like we were playing good teams and it was like, all right, this is the time that our schedule gets tough. But I never felt like we were like outclassed. It was like, we might win, we might lose, kind of flip a coin. These 2 games, it was like, go home, practice, go home, get some more players, go home, get a better bullpen, go home. Like, starters need to bring their fucking A game because this shit, they are not fucking around.
Yeah. And even though yesterday was 5-3, it did feel like it was like 12-3. Like,
absolutely.
Because of the onslaught that happened in the first 2 innings.
Exactly. 5-3 when it was 4-0 before you could blink is a very different game than, it was 2-1, 3-2, 3-4, 4-1, that's a very different type of game. And I was even, for moral victories, which I know we hate, like usually in the past down 4-0, that's a game where it's like, turn it off, game's over. The fact that we even clawed back and really were right there, base knock would have tied it up. I was happy with that, but that's about it. That was all there was to take away. And now with the injuries mounting too, it's like Alcantara coming up, 2 more with the Astros coming up. Like, this is the real test. Forget about fucking the West. We thought the West Coast was hard. West Coast ain't shit compared to the teams we're about to play and the pitchers we're about to face with 4 pitchers down and everybody having babies and everybody with, at least a strained this or a bruised that. It's put up or shut up time, I think, for the Mets.
Our pets' heads are falling off, and they're giving birth to babies and can no longer be our pets right now either. It's crazy. The miracle of life and the shadow of death are both showing up on our fucking doorsteps.
For real.
It's crazy.
I feel like I'm in the cryo right now. People are angels are popping out. I don't know what's going on anymore. By the way, I don't even know what you say. Condolences or sorry or just holy fucking shit, man. But Seth Lugo missing the birth of his kid because the airlines just fucked up is nuts. I wish Uncle Stevie just broke off some chump change and flew him out or some shit. I would be going berserk if I was just sorry, we can't get you home. You're gonna miss the birth of your kid because I don't know, we overbooked or some shit. Airlines right now need to clean their shit up, just like the Mets. Jesus.
Could you imagine a worse 72 hours? You let up the grand slam, you lose the game, you go to the airport, you're already fucking pissed that you have to go into the airport in general, and then
Father's Day.
Yes.
It's Father's Day, and then you miss it. Yes.
Oh, I forgot about Father's Day. That's a double win.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's like a script.
And I think there's one person to blame for that. Nicky the Good was wishing his kid didn't have a fucking was leaving sleepless nights.
Let me tell you guys this. I'm not gonna. I ain't no snitch. And what happens in the group chat stays in the group chat. If you guys saw some of the things that we say in the group chat about baseball, I think we'd all be canceled. I don't think the show would exist anymore.
Oh no, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, because I've always been that guy that is I hope your mother dies in a fucking fire, Alvarez. I'm just saying whatever comes to my mind. And usually everyone else is yo, you need to calm down. You guys are the ones. Clem dropped a C-bomb.
Multiple times.
I actually was so. You have to understand this. I'm also on half day entire week, so I have the kid just buzzing around me the whole time. I almost just went on Twitter and just started calling the umpire cunt. I'm going to say it on the podcast. Cunt. Yeah, I don't care. I was furious.
Dropping the cunt bombs. We were talking about national tragedies. There was some. We were getting loose in the Gotta Believe group chat. Let me tell you what.
All right, so this is going to be me kind of reversing that because I was dark yesterday in a dark place. I was really mad at that umpire yesterday. Really mad. When Mark Canha is getting upset, Mr. Fucking fancy shirt, plaid shirt, ironed on his way to the ballpark, kind of Mark Canha is upset, and then Buck finally came out. Let me just say this. It was Trevor Williams and Cookie Carrasco was hurt. And listen, the Astros didn't have their guys either, but those two things worked against us here, and we still had a chance to blow the game open, and Eduardo Escobar absolutely butt-fucked us both times. Yep. And I know people are calling for his head, and I had to just it's the easy way is just say, get the fuck off my team. I hate you, Eduardo Escobar. Timothy Ryder, he does he's a good follow on Twitter, good Mets fan. Escobar's first 20 games, 268, 388, 451. Then his next 20, 156, 233, 247. 17 after that, 329, 319, 571. Last 7, 080, 107, 200. We have a streaky hitter. That's what Eduardo Escobar is apparently going to be. It just fucking sucks that his streak is coming at a time where we have to use Dom, who just stinks, and then JD Davis, who cannot hit a fastball right down the dick of the plate.
Also, yes, when you're playing this poorly, and he knows it, and he said as much. He's I don't want to take time off because that's just basically admitting defeat, and I think he knows it more than anybody. But also, Eduardo Escobar was never meant to be the guy that the guy that drives the ship. You know what I mean? He is kind of what he is. When we get good out of him, good, and he's a low cost player. I don't think you can get that mad at him. When people get mad at Lindor, it's we know it's because of the paycheck. I think Escobar has probably made his money with some of the hot streaks he's had. It is tough when you get this cold, but the team needs to be able to withstand an Eduardo Escobar cold streak. If we can't, there's a lot of other people not doing their jobs. You know what I mean?
We've seen both sides of the coins. Escobar literally hit for the cycle earlier this month.
Within a matter of weeks ago.
It doesn't help when you have somebody that's calling him out every time he's up at the plate, too. He's branding him as this terrible player, and it's no, he had 30 home runs last year.
Right. And even within his cold streak, a couple games ago, he had a home run. Like it was, it was when the
game. He had a home run Tuesday night.
2 days ago. It was when the game was out of reach, so people don't care. But it's like, I don't know. Like he's cold right now, but Jesus Christ, not everybody is, going to be good all the time.
At his best, he's a league average player that just will be really hot and really cold. That's it. He's just a league average.
Would I like it to just be a steady, like 250 all the time rather than ups and downs? Maybe. I don't know. Those hot streaks were, very integral at a time when we need them. I think that right now with the injuries and some of the play, this is probably going to be our first bad week of the year. To be perfectly honest, this will be with Alcantara coming up, 2 more with the Astros. I feel like you have to win the other games with the Marlins. Otherwise, like this will be our first losing streak. And the fact that it's coming on June 23rd, like people need to recognize that, a lot of really good teams have had bad weeks far earlier than us, multiple bad weeks, worse weeks than us. So like it's going to happen. It's probably, it's going to happen over the course of 162. It's probably going to happen right now. And like, please, for the love of fuck, I can't even imagine how toxic social media is going to be if we've been as bad as Mets Twitter has been when we haven't been bad. Now that we actually are going to have a bad week, I can't even imagine what you motherfuckers are going to say.
Well, first of all, I'm just going to say this, and I don't care if I get fucking old take disposed on it. Sandy Alcantara, you're locked in with us. We're not locked in this fucking room with you. You're locked in this room with us. We're coming for his ass. And that fucking ERA is going to take a little hit on Friday. I'm fucking calling it now. I'm responsibly betting on the Barstool Sportsbook tomorrow.
I kind of don't disagree. Like, part of me thought, like, Alcantara, even DeGrom had these games every now and then where, you let a few runs in. And I think if there's a team to do it, it's like the Mets who, hit with runners in scoring position and play like good ball and classic baseball. So I think that even Alcantara is going to have to falter, and I think it would be against a lineup like ours. So I'm riding with Clem.
Think about it. This is his fourth time through the lineup. Technically, they had him last week.
Right.
Go through again.
Don't say whatever you're about to say, Meek.
Yeah, Phil, no. Your eyes.
I have a stat I want to give you on Sandy Alcantara. He's already done this before, where he's played the same lineup twice in a week. He did it versus the Braves. In May, he went 9. He had a complete game shutout versus the Braves, and then he went 8 innings, 1 run versus them a week later.
Shut the fuck up, Philip. We didn't need to hear that.
Well, we are better than the Braves, so we will not let that happen.
Yeah, listen, like that's not going to happen every time. At some point, the same way the Mets have to have a bad week, eventually Alcantara's got to have a bad game, and if there's ever a time to do it, it's right now. And to be honest, I mean, if it wasn't for just the worst mismanaging of an inning I've seen in a long time, as much as I love Buck, I think we win that game 1-0. I think that if we handle the 7 and 8 correctly, and I think Diaz would have shut him down, I really think that was a win that was right there, even though it was like the 6th inning. I really think that should have been a 1-0 dub versus Alcantara.
2-0. We scored another run on them the next inning.
Ourselves in the 6th.
We ended up scoring 2 against them. I think
right.
If someone's going to wear him down, it's going to be this lineup. Like, they just need to get to him like early and make him throw a lot of pitches, and then, it's anyone's ball game. But like, my biggest takeaway from this last Astros games is that we need another big bat. Everybody says you need another big bat. If you look at the landscape of who's going to be in the postseason, all of these teams hit home runs at like an alarming clip, and it's like, we could score 5 runs, but if they're going to hit 2 or 3 home runs, they're right in the game with us every single time. I hate
to say it. You need a bat, you need a reliever, and you need like at least a starter. Yeah, I think we needed a starter even if people weren't injured.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, you almost literally like need a starter on like an emergency situation. Go get some journeyman, go get, pull up some kid from the mine, whatever you got to do. You almost like have to.
How about somebody that isn't going to pull themselves the second they feel the slightest discomfort? You know how I feel.
Kyle is a old school motherfucker these days. Anytime somebody feels a strain or a pull,
Goose Gelling.
Like, you're fake, you're fraudulent, it's phony.
Yeah.
His name is Goose Gelling. Goose Gelling over here.
Are you fucking kidding me? You have that lower back tightness. Like, give me a break. And then you're going to say, oh, no, I'm fine. I
walk on a treadmill. I have lower back tightness all the time.
Oh, you're not kidding.
Well, I mean,
anytime they get in trouble, all of a sudden something bothers them.
I think, though, it's actually smarter to play, like, as much as we all live and die with every fucking game, now is the time to, like, if you are feeling something, Don't
Right.
push it. Don't be a hero now. These are games against, that's why I was talking about that 6th inning against the Marlins. And somebody said, you can't go to Medina in that spot. In what spot? We're playing the Marlins in June. If there was ever a time, especially after if you put Medina in against Mookie Betts and the Dodgers in the 10th inning with a man on in running in scoring position, you can put that kid in any position. But also, these spots are not really, important on a big scale right now. So I think, as much as it sucks that it's all coinciding, if you are feeling a strain of this or a pinch of that, like, unfortunately now is the time to address it. But at some point it's like, who's left to pitch?
And I'll tell you, this is just my dumb baseball fan brain working. I don't think the MRI hasn't come back on Cookie, right? Nothing.
No, it's happening today or tomorrow.
But when I heard lower back tightness, I'm like, shit. He'll start the next game. Like, if it was shoulder, elbow, forearm, anything like that, I'd be like, he's gonna die. Cookie is dead, basically. He's gonna have to retire. However, with the back tightness, which is a legitimate injury potentially, I'm like, he's fine. That's just the way I'm
I'm just happy it wasn't the hamstring because that's what kept him out like 3 months last year and fucked his season. So that tightness will be best for now.
I think they should have a tube in the clubhouse. Do they have like X-ray machines and shit on campus, on site?
They have X-rays, not MRI, I'm pretty sure.
Get the fucking tube in there, man. Like Cohen, for real. Like, get the tube in there, in between innings, pop a guy in there and be like, no, don't worry, you're okay, get back out there.
How do they not have like icy hot commercials every fucking time? Like, this hit by pitch is brought to you by icy hot or fucking ice packs or whatever the fuck you would do. Like Tylenol, I don't know, whatever it is. But for us Mets fans, and hey, this has been like, it's almost been too easy doing these ads reads, but this podcast and this basically beautiful Mets season that is going to be beautiful when it's all over is brought to you by Coors Light, the beer that's made the chill. We need it more now than ever right now, boys, because this is the time where everyone's losing their shit. We have to keep an even head.
These guys come out with like a minor tear in their hamstring. Kyle's like, drink a Coors Light and get back out there. Rub some dirt on it. Have a cold one. The mountains are blue. Keep playing.
Exactly. So they always say, what do you like drinking your Coors Light to? I like drinking my Coors Light to the Mets winning baseball games. And even when the Mets are losing baseball games, those Blue Mountains help me get through it. And our friends at Coors Light are going to help make the most of your summer with a chance to win exclusive chill merch, fun local experiences, and even a trip to New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles. All you have to do to enter to win is go to CoorsLight.com/believe. Again, that's CoorsLight.com/believe. That's where you get your beers. You get your Coors Light and deliver right to your door. All that good stuff. Coors Light is the official beer of everything unofficial. I don't know what that means, but I absolutely love it, which I why I love Coors Light. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends August 15, 2022. Game ends September 6, 2022. All 50 U.S. states and Washington, D.C. 21 or older only. Void where prohibited. For rules, visit CoorsLightSummer.com. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Had to bring this up to you boys here. And tell me, am I crazy? Am I crazy? Because I was like, we said this on Monday's podcast. We said, maybe Buck could go to Dusty, 2 old souls in the game, and go, listen, man, you sit out Alvarez this game. this is my Buck impersonation. I'm trying to you sit out Alvarez this game. I'm going to sit out McNeil for the next 2, and we'll see you guys next week at City. Am I crazy to think that this series turns out differently if Jeff McNeil's in the lineup instead of?
Yes, no, absolutely. Because we don't have Eduardo Escobar or Dom Smith up in those 2 bases loaded plate appearances. So
I was actually thinking that, like, literally in those spots, I was like, God, because when Canna was up, I texted you guys and said, this is the guy I want up right now.
Yep.
And he milked a walk, and I was like, okay, obviously don't swing at a bad pitch, and if it's a ball, take your base. But I'd really rather him swinging the bat there. And then, I was thinking to myself, like, who else would be up in the spot, or who else would I want? And it's McNeil. And that, he was just unfortunately not there. But I mean, McNeil to me, I think, when it comes, if you tell me runners in scoring position, we need a hit. Lindor has done it at like an amazing clip in a clutch fashion. Pete obviously leads the league in doing it. So obviously he probably should be the pick, but I just feel like McNeil to me is at the point where if he doesn't swing, it's a ball. And I don't know if umpires respect him on that level yet, but it used to be like if Tony Gwynn doesn't swing the bat, the umpire calls it a ball because that's how it goes. And I'm not saying he deserves Tony Gwynn level respect, but I think his eye is there. Like he's that surgical of a hitter. And I love like the way he does. I mean, to me, that's the pick if you need a hit. And those were obviously spots where we needed them. So yeah, I think if you weren't thinking about McNeil in those spots, you haven't really been watching the team, because he is the guy.
Yeah, I'm almost at the point where, similarly with even Canna and Nimmo, where I'm like, just let them call their own strikes and balls at this point. Yeah. It's better. I'll tell you, it was better than the guy who was pitching yesterday. Who I'm not even. Who was the umpire yesterday? Because he is like my least favorite umpire in the world.
Wasn't it Wendelstadt was one of the games?
It was Wendelstadt one of the games.
Yes,
I don't know if it was yesterday. Nonetheless, I'm with you there. What is your
Canna back? And then when Buck came out, I literally assumed that this is how it went. He went, "You're really going to go back at this fucking guy? Like the guy who doesn't say a word? If he's telling you did a bad job, I just watched on the TV screen, like you fucked up. Like that's pretty much how it goes."
And I do believe though, like he got a makeup call like the next pitch, right? I was in the car at that point, and so I didn't see it. But Howie and Wayne were like, "Well, he made up for it on the other side." So at least like he did the right thing. But
if everyone's healthy, what do you think our best? No, it doesn't have to be lineup 1 through 9, but what is our best alignment?
Well, wait a minute. I just want to talk about the umpire from yesterday. That was Adam Hamari, the same one that ejected Syndergaard in game versus the Dodgers years ago. That was the ass in the jackpot home plate umpire.
The jackpot umpire. Now it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that guy's got an axe to grind. Fuck that dude. That Syndergaard ejection was like. He said like one thing and got the boot, right? That's why it was so crazy.
Mm-hmm. He's like, no, you're done. You're done.
What?
That guy can't umpire for us anymore. He's 0 for 2 in my mind. I don't know any other game he's fucking up for us.
Legitimately, like every umpire needs to be purged from the league. Like there needs to be a whole new. Baseball is so broken in so many ways, but one of them should be like a purge. Bring in all new umpires, and they all have to face the media and do post-game press conferences and pay for, and address their issues. All of that would change everything. Right now, they're like, I said it before, it's like they're corrupt cops. They just get, hidden and moved around, and that's all that matters.
Yep. They are like the teachers where they get put in like the fucking rubber room or something.
Yes.
Like that's where all the umpires go.
They just
throw them in the rubber room.
Yep.
All right. So so obviously right now we have the injuries with McNeil and whatnot, and we'll see what happens. Our best lineup: Pete at first, Jeff at second. Is Guillorme like at third base our our best option at this point?
I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Lindor at short. Obviously, the outfield is your Canna, your Marte, and your Nimmo. And then, do we trust Nito behind the plate more than McCamley comes back at this point?
They're both about the same player in my eyes. If they just have some playing time,
I'm taking Nito 100,000 times out of 100,000 times. I mean, I'm not saying yes, they are very similar, but Nito does have this knack, at least currently, for runners in scoring position. I also just think he's I just like him. I think that like players like him. I think he's a good.
We know DeGrom prefers throwing to him.
Yeah.
So it's not like that is in such a great game. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I would. We were watching Wilson Contreras at Wrigley when we were in Chicago, and they put up obviously all his stats on the big. The Cubs crowd was going wild for him, just knowing that he's gone and knowing that like they're the only thing. He's the only thing they've got to cheer for. And, he's probably got a ticket to the Bronx, like right now as we speak. But I'm thinking like, why not us? Like, I don't know. We got some catchers already on the roster, but like, get nuts, Uncle Stevie. Why not? But it would be, that's why when you had Piazza and even LaDuca to some extent, when you have a catcher who can hit, it's like this 2-for-1, 2 birds, 1 stone sort of thing that makes you feel so much better about your lineup. Is there a chance? I feel like in the next 50 years, they'll just go full DH with the pitcher and the catcher. Like if you're talking about making hitters, if you're talking about scoring more runs and making it more exciting and shit, just make the pitcher and the catcher this battery that only play on the field, and you put 2 more batters. It's like where that was always my argument about the designated hitter in general is like, why stop there? Why this one position? Why not? Catching is a unique, weird position where you're basically, you're more of a pitcher than you are like a infielder. Or why not, second baseman too? They fucking are there. Like why not just have 2 full separate teams?
And it's slow pitch softball where like you're hitting 8 home runs a game, and it's like that's an automatic out.
Yeah,
and metal bats. Why not? But no, legitimately, like it is kind of weird that it's like catchers kind of have to do way more the same way pitchers do, and so you should focus on just that. And but yeah, anyway, that's my rant about catching.
You could be like 20 years ahead of the curve on this too. Like in 2040, this would not surprise me whatsoever.
I really really don't think it's that far fetched the way baseball is going.
Francisco Alvarez would be the Shohei Ohtani of that too.
And speaking of Francisco Alvarez, 12 home runs in his last 23 games. I mean,
I know no matter what his numbers are, it was too young. He's too soon, too young. But maybe not for just like, especially I think right now it sucks that he plays catcher and like we've got Mazika and Nito and everybody. But like when you have this many injuries, isn't there a little bit of wiggle room for like, we got to get crazy with it, guys. Sorry, like we're in a jam. We know he's young. We're not expecting him to stay, but we just need a bat out there and then like just who fucking knows? If you do it very carefully and you're under the is that water? Can I get one? Under the pretense of like you don't worry if you bomb, you'll be sent back down and it won't be like a knock against you if you do it the right way. And then like who knows? What if Frank the Tank? How sweet would it be if the icing on the cake of this great season was that there's another Frank the Tank and he's awesome and everybody forgets about the negative Frank the Tank and only talks about the good one.
He actually has an actual nickname in the minors. He goes by El Troll. So I think I like that more.
I think that's actually our Frank the Tank's new
name. Wait a minute.
No, that's his actual nickname, like El Troll. He wore a jersey with that.
Troll?
Troll, yes.
Does that mean something in Spanish, or are we talking about?
I have no idea where it comes from, but that's his nickname.
Wait a minute. This is some like Truman Show shit. You're telling me that there's a troll who works at Barstool Sports, nicknamed Frank the Tank, and then there's a short, stout, stocky catcher who's a tank in the minors, nicknamed El Troll?
Yes, El Troll.
Like, we need these two to meet and like throw a penny into the well at the same time as lightning strikes, and we do some Freaky Friday shit because there's like some magic going on here that these two guys have the opposite names. I don't know what's going on.
No, in the words of Egon Spangler, oh no, Kevin, I think that would be extremely bad. That's the gatekeeper and the keymaster meeting. Obviously,
El Troll.
And according to Google Translate, El Troll means troll in English. So
I mean, it is because he's just like I said, like this short little guy, like a troll under a bridge, like not like an internet troll, like a mythical troll.
I have no idea where it came from. I remember I saw it on his Instagram a year ago, and I guess he's trying to like adopt it. I put it in our chat. Pabs wants to put it up.
Yeah, I'm looking. I mean, El Troll.
What do you think the only problem is with bringing him up now? It's not like it's unprecedented for a team to bring up a 20-year-old.
If he's one of the best hitters in the organization, he should be hitting. He should be DH at bare minimum every day.
He's Padres did it with Tatis. It's like, what are we waiting for? Is it just because he's catcher? Is it
because he's 20 years old? That's really it.
They did it with those guys, and both of those guys excelled. So it's like,
I think there's two things. I think that he is. It's not that he's 20. It's that. Like those guys brought up Tatis and whoever, but I think they were planning on doing it since he was like 18, right? Like I think there was almost a plan. These guys are so good, we know it, and they're coming. I think Alvarez, while we knew he was good, I think he's been like ahead of schedule. And I do think that catching is different than like just go out there, and if the ball's to know a clubhouse, to know rotation, to know the call. I mean, you look at if he goes out there and has a Mazika type of game. It's a whole different story.
They brought up Conforto in 2015,
and I remember saying
he was in college, so it's different because he's older, more mature mentally, type of thing, maybe. But at the same time, it's like that guy can hit. We need a hitter. Why wouldn't you bring him in to at least try?
You know what? Because he's 20 years old and he can't legally drink any alcohol during our World Series run.
There's cake and punch too. There's cake and punch. Great, don't worry. I remember saying about Conforto when I was on the verge of a console saying, if this team doesn't make moves, they're done, like as constructed. And I said in my blog, don't say to me Conforto, because like putting all of that on him this early is not, fair, and he's probably not going to be, a factor. And boy, was I fucking wrong. He was like a huge piece of that. Ends up hitting 2 bombs in the World Series. So like, again, why not pick a weekend that's like a soft weekend at home against some, opponents who aren't great, or some pitching that he would match up well against. See what happens.
At this point, and I know like AA and AAA, and sometimes you get better guys in AA, but like if he put him up to AAA, give him a month, and if he's still doing anything close to this, I'm 100% bringing him up. But like,
it's also an Alonso situation where it's like that guy is clearly a major league hitter, and like it's not a service time thing. It's like he deserves to be with the major league club because he's going to make us better.
Yeah, and the good thing is, if the owners that shall not be named were here, we'd be like, we're not going to see him for at least 2 more years at this point. So the fact that Uncle Stevie's gonna be like, fuck it, bring him up. I don't care about service time or any of that bullshit. That just makes you feel good. So we're going to get a bat by the deadline. We're going to get probably 2 bats by the deadline. And we'll have our catcher. We'll have McCann back. We'll have like a full battery. So we don't have to put Alvarez at catcher. But just having the DH there, everyone could just settle. I think Alvarez will be here by September at this point. Or,
Well, yeah, right. They'll probably do it for like the 40-man, whatever, extended rosters. Would that be like a definite for a guy like that?
He keeps hitting a home run every other game. I don't know how you don't do
Yeah, I don't know what else he has left to prove. He started out really hot in Double-A, went into a slump, now busted out of a slump. Maybe he's like striking out too much, but even like defensively, all the pitchers love him down there and they just rave about his reviews. So
I will say, like, you have to think though, they're gonna want him when he comes up. They're never gonna want to send him down again, and he's not. They don't want him learning how to catch on the fly during a pennant race. So that's the reason why.
That's true. I feel like I said, if it's under the circumstances of like we're banged up right now, we need a little bit of a spark, we need an extra body, like you're coming up and almost with the intention of sending him back down. If I think you could say that, and then if he hits the cover off the ball, be like, never mind, we were joking, you're here to stay. Because I just think there's a way to test it. Because like, what if you're missing out? What if he turns out to be like one of the best catchers of all time and he absolutely was ready, and we were just playing it by like the book of how old you have to be and how much time you have to have, and instead we say fuck it, give it a shot, and we end up having like a missing piece that was sitting right under our nose the whole time.
Yeah, no, it's fair. I mean,
it's the only sport where you really get to do that. You don't get to like have an unsigned free agent in football that you like test and then can put aside, and G League call-ups are never like influential like these guys. It's why not take a chance?
He got 16 home runs and 16 doubles, and he's hitting 10 points higher than Beatty. It's like
right. I mean, there's other guys that he's eclipsed that like I don't know. To me, I think now's the time to do it if there ever was one. Like if you're not going to do it like next year is the year. If we're going to do like a mid-season type thing, now is when we're, in the most need. And I think the fans would almost be like the most understanding if things don't go well. I don't know if it's even possible for Mets fans to be understanding and have some sort of nuance. Probably not.
Do you trust Billy Epler, Kevin? Because I put him up on the YouTube. Do you trust this guy with the sunglasses on? And
I trust that fucking man. I'm looking for the sunglasses around here. We should have a Epler episode. Everybody in the shades at one point.
Epler mode.
Yeah, Epler mode engaged. Yes, fuck yeah.
Over the other glasses too.
We'll do that for the trade deadline.
I love it.
So I think we're going to be right there. Whether or not we'll see whenever Alvarez comes out. It's like the anti-Kalenic a couple years ago, where every time he did something during a game, and you're just like, God damn it, the Mets would lose. Kalenic would hit a bomb in the minors for the Mariners. Now it's like the Mets are winning, and Alvarez is absolutely ripping the cover off the ball. It's everything the Church of Coentology has promised us it would be. Scherzer, everyone basically wants him back tomorrow. Sounds like he's been good. Phil, how are we feeling about Scherzer?
I think there's a good chance he starts on Sunday. If not, maybe it's not a rehab and it's the weekend after, but we're very, very close with Scherzer that it could be Sunday.
The point of that is too, if he's going to throw the innings, why wouldn't he just do it at the major league level?
That's what I mean. Like he threw 65 pitches on Tuesday. Like if he feels good, he's starting Sunday, and
that would be like I. This is why I do it. I always just in my mind, Max Scherzer was out for the whole season. Like I was just never counting on him again. So the fact that it's like here, technically like right before it'll be like the 26th or something, like right before July. Has it even been 8 weeks? Has it been?
The original timeline was 6 to 8 weeks. If he comes back Sunday, it's like 3 days before the 6 week period. So
fucking monster, man. That guy is built different, an absolute freak of nature. We need to like donate his body one day when it's all said and done, because whatever he's got up here and the rest of his body is second to none.
And people are fucking going nuts over a dog bite on his hand like 4 weeks ago. It's like
losers, the biggest fucking losers in the goddamn world.
Did Duncan ever bite? Because it sounds like I've never like they bite. Dogs bite. Yes. That's what they do. They bite their own.
Anytime he had listen, we went to war, me and Duncan. When Shay was born, he used to eat her pacifiers like he would steal them from the crib. He would fucking chew them up like a toy. And if I tried to get my hand in there to pull it out, he'd go, and not in that like, hey, you're my master and I'm the puppy and we're playing, in the way like I will bite your fucking hand off, bro. That happens. It happens. It's not a big deal.
And you want to talk about dogs? I'm going to throw a little dog on the fucking YouTube for everyone here. This is the guy that will be coming back, and trust me, he's going to come back when he's ready. Max Scherzer pacing in the Binghamton dugout as a rumble pony. That guy is wearing a jersey that says rumble ponies on it, and he's still like a fucking shark. This guy is going to come back, and he is going to shove it up whoever ass happens to be in the batter's box that night.
Yo, that is going to be – I almost hope he's going to come in over like all wound up, overthrowing, be hitting like 110 on the gun. I hope he comes in and just does his thing and doesn't get like too emotional about it, because I'm sure he has been foaming at the fucking mouth thinking about how good this team has been and how much he could like put them over the top if he was there. I'm going to get close.
I'm not even getting excited about James McCann coming back. I'm going to get excited for our friend Thomas Nido, though, that he no longer has to catch every fucking game. Then it just means Nido will be fresher. His knees are probably like, where the fuck is James McCann? It doesn't matter. James McCann can go 0 for 100, just as long as someone can get behind the plate, call pitches, be a good defensive guy. McNeil, hopefully this weekend, hamstrings, like every time he runs now, I'm going to be scared. I was scared before this. I felt like his hamstring hasn't been right for like weeks now.
Wow.
And
yeah.
This is
I think there's a lot of more banged up guys than we even realize. I
think hit into that double play, and I was like, I don't even care. Like, don't bust down the line if it comes to it. Like, I don't need to blow something out.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to just like take it easy. Like truly, you hate when you see like a guy like Machado gets fucking crushed for lollygagging, and it's like, but sometimes over the course of 1 billion games in the regular season, if you hit the ball right to the second baseman and there's a 99.99% chance you're out, just chill. Not everybody needs to be Brandon Nimmo,
Exactly.
By the way, real quick, I'm going to sound like when you're talking to your girlfriend who's never watched a second of sports. Isn't it kind of ridiculous that the whole sport is predicated around running full speed and stepping on an elevated, like 2-inch thick thing? Like, I'm surprised people don't blow out ankles and twist all sorts of shit every fucking play. You're running like 40 miles an hour and you're slamming on the bag at the same time while someone's stepping right next to it. It just seems like a dumb thing that we could.
Yeah, that's what happened to Machado.
And it's always from a standstill. Like, you're standing around for 2 hours of a 3-hour game, and they're like, as fast as you possibly can.
In the heat, in the summer, and step on this awkwardly raised platform. I don't know. We're talking about automating this shit. Have it be like a finish line that you got to cross before the ball hits just a million ways other than like, they did it back in, 1888 because they were just like, here's a bag of corn kernels or something. Step on that. We could probably change that at this point.
They were using a rock probably as a baseball. So it's like, just because we haven't improved all the other technology.
I was going to say this for later, but it's the perfect segue if we could talk about it. I don't know if you guys know about this, but I read the most fascinating article on Sports Illustrated about how they mud up the balls. It's now that the balls are like front and center, and we're talking about the process in which they, make them, whether it's juiced or dead or, they're too glossy, you can't get the grip. But there's one family in New Jersey, the Blintcrofts, I believe their name is. And, It's a fourth generation thing, I believe. It's him, his father, his grandfather, and then I think maybe his father before that. But at least 3 generations of this guy living in New Jersey. They have a secret location where the mud comes from near a river in Jersey. They just scoop buckets of it. He takes out all the twigs and shit. He stores it in his garage. And they ship it all over all these clubhouses. And then the guys, have a specific rule now they said 2 fingers for the swipe, and you rub it all over the ball for no more than 40 seconds. But the thought that like a multi-billion-dollar league comes down to this like one dude who's like, I got to get my mud. And they say that this mud is perfect. It absorbs it without discoloring it. It's not too gloppy. It doesn't fall off the ball. It makes it less glossy and slippery. But, like, how has that not been recreated in a lab of some sort that can then be mass produced and recreated. Like, it's kind of crazy that it's just this guy. He's got secret mud. We're talking about, he literally says, I have secret mud for Major League Baseball. It's crazy. Am I not? Are you guys not like blown away by that? That it's just some dude like scooping up fucking buckets?
I hate Rob Manfred. So motherfucking much.
This league is so dumb.
That's like the touch point of like, this team is living in the past completely. I mean, this game's living in the past completely, and they're trying to like bring it along, but it's like some things just America's pastime. You just got to chalk it up to that. I was like, now they don't do it, but it was like the mom and pop schedulers. It was like just two people that would sit there for hours on end to schedule out games for like the 6 years in advance type of thing. I don't think
there's one button you push on an Excel spreadsheet. The pivot table churns it out. Here's everybody's records. Here's everybody's schedule. Like, that should be done in a heartbeat with all these analytics these days. The game is just so. Another thing I wanted to talk about, I was going to bring up later. Pete Alonso goes on Chrissy Chaos with Chris DiStefano, because Chris is now like an honorary Puerto Rican member of the Cohen family. And they did a great interview, and like they let it fly a little bit. But like, I know that they were super sensitive about like everything he said. And it's like, here's a guy like Pete who's dying to show his personality. You can tell, like, every time he wants to really say what he wants and what he's thinking, and he just, like, he can't, and they have to take this out, and they have to change that. And between that and that sort of stuff, and then the way they treat social media, you know, they're doing all these other rule changes and pace of play and all that shit. You know what would work a lot better? Let your players be normal fucking humans and let that rip. Turn them into superstars like Steph Curry's, and like even the way that like the NBA has like beef with each other and they argue on Instagram and they throw shade at each other on Twitter and stuff. Like, that's what the young people are going to like. And that doesn't really impact anything on the field. You don't have to fuck with balls. You don't have to fuck with schedules, any of that. Just let these guys be the cool, cocky, badass motherfuckers that they are, and let us show that on the internet.
That's a double-edged sword. That's Stroman and Syndergaard. That's a double-edged sword.
True.
But like,
don't be assholes. Don't let your personality be an asshole.
That is the thing. The only people doing it's Bauer, it's Syndergaard, it's Stroman. It's a bunch of assholes who are the ones who, like, I guess, kind of break the rules or the unwritten rules, and they're fucking lame. If everybody was talking and everybody was posting and making videos and coming on podcasts and shit, telling me Jazz Chisholm's not like the coolest guy on the fucking planet. You're telling me if him and Fernando Tatis were jawing at each other, having beef, that it wouldn't be awesome? If Pete could get out there and drop F-bombs and say whatever he wants on a podcast like ours, like, people would love this shit. And that's what turns you into real superstars. And that's what turns you into like a global product. And instead, you know, it's like, I guess we finally have accepted bat flips, sort of. But like, you know, that's all we've got, is like, you're allowed to kind of celebrate home runs. And, you know, if you listen to Chris and DiStefano, it's still very funny. He's talking about which toilets in the clubhouse and the dugout you're allowed to take a shit in and which ones you're not. He called them PD speed wipes at one point. He was talking about what happens when you got to take a shit in the middle of the game. Pete goes, you basically just run back in there and give yourself a hemorrhoid because you're pushing out so hard. And then you got a speed wipe and you don't even know if you did a good enough job. And then someone's yelling, there's 2 outs. And then you really got to rush. And Chris is like, all right, PD speed wipes. What's going on, man? I mean, it's like, give me more of that, dude. We already love these guys. Imagine if you knew all the ins and outs and how cool they actually were. And then, you know, we wouldn't be talking about the balls. We'd be talking about the fucking product on the field instead of all the shit they do wrong. We'd be talking about all the stuff that's actually interesting.
And you see, like, Joey Votto's trying to get into it now, but everyone's like, oh, Joey Votto's trying to get into this for his next part of his career, right? Which is good. More people should be like that. No one knew everyone knew Joey Votto could be like fun, like interacting with fans here and there. Everyone should be like, let me do this now while, you know, I'm a 300 hitter and everyone fucking loves me. Joey Votto's doing this kind of at the tail end of his career. It's crazy that not more people do it. But again, it's the fucking Goose Gellings of the world that are scaring these guys. These guys aren't trying hard enough.
I think we are like, I guess, one generation's worth. One more generation, all these old white guys are going to die. They're not going to be in charge. They're not going to be running the show. And you're at least going to start to get people like closer to our age, Clem, and our demo, like our, bracket, if you will, that are like, yeah, I don't know, let the fucking players curse on a podcast. Let them,
does Alonso still have the YouTube?
A little bit of weed.
Does Alonso still have his YouTube channel? He like suspended it last year when he was in this slump or whatever, right?
I think that was I think that was more of a like I'm skipping right now and I don't want to. I don't think you should need to go as far. I don't like that Trevor Bauer. I don't like Trevor Bauer, period. But one of the things I hated besides him being like a scumbag of a human was I was like, it feels like you're a baseball player second.
Yeah,
and that's where it gets annoying. You don't need to have a YouTube channel. Come on our YouTube channel. Right. Come on Chris DeStefano's YouTube channel but be real and talk about real shit. And instead, Chris is referencing it the whole time. There's a PR person behind the camera and he's like, "Oops, she didn't like that one." And they were all tame. None of them was bad.
That's why Busting Like the Boys is just like they just get on the bus and they just chop it up and it's like there's a new player every time. I've listened to episodes where I don't even know who it is that's the guest and I'm like, this is great because it just humanizes them. And you're right. Like it is just so calculated of like, here are your talking points. Here's what you can do. And like now the Mets have their new podcast or whatever and it's like they're trying to get into that direction, but they can't.
Well, also, what happens really? Like the team slaps you on the wrist?
Right.
Like, has there ever been an example of someone who got themselves in so much trouble that they like talked their way out of a multi-million-dollar contract or got suspended or whatever? It's like, the team yells at you. It's like, just ask for forgiveness and not permission. Just have some fucking fun, man. It's crazy. Yeah. Petey Speed Wipes. Next time he's running the bases looking like a goofball, I'm calling him Petey Speed Wipes.
Yeah. The old sniffing the finger means a whole new thing where you're Petey fucking Speed Wipes, right? Mm-hmm. I saw much blogged about that. I tried to find that GIF for him to put it on the blog, but couldn't find it. No, all fair points. And like Phil, you live in like the like Twitterverse, especially in Major League Baseball. Like more guys like that would be awesome for it, right?
Yeah, just more like personalities. Like that's it.
Especially with the international market too, like those guys, they have an entire country that's just focused on them. Like there's like, it's opposite in Cuba. They don't air those guys if they defected or whatever. But like if you're Shohei Ohtani, where you're superstar over there, and it's like the market here, he should easily like we always say Trout's not marketable. That dude should be on another. He should have 1 billion followers.
Ohtani goes 2 3-run bombs into 8 innings, 13 strikeouts the next day. They said he's the only person in MLB history to ever have 2 3-run home runs in a game and also have 13 strikeouts in a game. He did it in 48 hours. Yeah. And it's like an afterthought in the rest of the sports world. Baseball's talking about it. Nobody else is. That guy should be on I guess it's a little bit of a language issue perhaps, but every podcast he should be, like you said, literally probably like 1 billion followers that guy should have. It's just such a missed opportunity and they focus on all the wrong shit. It's like, you don't need to worry about how many seconds you're outside the batter's box if these guys are beloved by everybody because we know how cool they are. I think it's a little ridiculous. We could speed it up a little bit, but shaving 11 minutes off of a game doesn't do anything. You know what does do it? Like knowing how awesome Ohtani is and knowing that, he's beefing with this guy and knowing the drama and the, all of that. It's a soap opera, man. Let the people know the storylines.
And the international market's like really crazy in all other sports. Like I remember like a year ago, it got pointed out to me, Jeremy Lin has fucking videos on YouTube of his summer league highlights with millions of views.
Yes.
And he's not even like a top 500 player ever. Like, yeah, the international market's crazy. I don't know why.
We have an example for it with the World Baseball Classic every 4 years. Those crowds are wild. Yes. You don't have anything near that when you come to the Major League parks. And it's like, yeah, they're going to sell 8 minutes worth of commercials, but they need you to get into the box immediately. It's like, put the logo on their jersey, put their logo on the helmet, and cut the commercials so we could speed the game up, and more people would watch.
And I had to point out this tweet because it went viral the other day again. But Matt Tomic, every time I see an Angels highlight, it's like Mike Trout hit 3 home runs and raises average to 528, while Shohei Ohtani did something that hasn't been done since Tungsten Arm O'Doyle of the 1921 groomsmen, and as the Tigers defeated the Angels 8-3. Like, if you're just some shitty team in California no one cares about, it really is just like
Tungsten O'Doyle from the groomsmen is a very funny line. Is that guy like well known, or is that just a random fan?
That's just I don't know if he's an actual like if he's big on Twitter, but that was a A++ tweet by Matt Tomic here. So again, that guy with the sunglasses, Epler mode, could he be bringing? I would silly to say, would you want Ohtani? But like I know that the whispers were that he preferred like a West Coast team a little quieter. Would you say if Ohtani say he wanted to come here, Uncle Stevie building this machine, this new media thing, Epler as the GM that he has comfort with, would he be number one on your wish list over a Soto? And this is our we are now Yankees fan segments of the podcast. We start talking like fucking gabagool Yankees.
I love Ohtani's one of my favorite players. I do think there's gonna be a point in his career though where he has to either scrap pitching or hitting. I don't think he could be a two-way player for 10 years.
Why not?
Because it's very hard to do.
Is it? He's doing it right now.
He's doing it for like 3 or 4 years. If he can do it for 15, that's amazing. He's a Hall of Famer then.
Yeah,
it's also
I don't
like
see why
you're tying up so much money that you're not going to be as competitive. If this guy, they're saying he's going to more average annual than Scherzer, and he's a position player. Like he's going to make. You want to talk about a $500 million player? Like you're looking at it right there.
And you know what?
But he's a 2-for-1. So it's like You're kind of coming out ahead, I think. If you had two $25 million players and you free up a roster spot, you got a guy like Cohen who can just keep throwing. I don't know. I mean, I think that we think it's hard because we've been told that's the way it has to be. And it's like, if you condition yourself, like there's going to be a whole generation of kids now growing up trying to do that. And I think if you're just like, I throw the ball a lot, and that doesn't affect like how I swing the bat and like swinging the bat doesn't really make me tired as a pitcher. Like, I just don't necessarily know why those two things have to be mutually exclusive if it comes to you naturally. If you're like a borderline pitcher and you're like, I need to focus every effort on hitting the exact spot. And so I'm not even going to take these cuts and then, I'm going to be a shitty hitter. But if it's like what you do,
he literally doesn't take batting practice. He just shows up. Like, that's fucking crazy.
Like, is there a reason? I know it's just that it's, every inning you're pitching, it's physically harder, it's more labor, but like nobody else's defense is, completely precludes them. We have hitting catchers all the time. Like, you go back what I was talking about. Catchers are on their fucking, squat for 9 innings a game, mentally and physically putting their shit through it, and they play several times a week. And, it just doesn't seem that it has to be one or the other. And I think like the next generation, there's going to be a couple Ohtanis, a couple guys who can do it at least on some level. I don't know why it has to be that way. Like, because also baseball is a stupid sport. Like, if he just focuses on just hitting, do you think he's going to bat 500? No, he raises his batting average like 20 points. I don't know. It's like, I would rather, you keep doing what you're doing on an unprecedented level than be like a little bit better of a hitter.
Josh Hamilton was going to be a 1 or 2 pick as either a pitcher or a position player, and they were like, you have to pick. John Olerud was a 2-way player in college. The award is named after him in college. Like, there's plenty of people who like probably could have. I don't know if they would have been to his level where he's like an ace, but like there's definitely athletic enough people that have been in the league where they were like, this isn't how you do it, so you have to choose. And he was just like, no.
Yeah, so that's a question for another time, I suppose. Again, and then Juan Soto's out there again. We're such assholes. Aaron Judge. I love what Aaron Judge is doing. I'm happy he's going to get paid. I prefer it not be us. I like the photoshops of him in Mets jersey because I know it probably drives a certain segment of baseball Twitter crazy. But looking ahead here with the team we have now, Marlins for 3. And Kyle, you said it best. That Astros series, the best way is just to make it one series. It's the 2 games that were just played and the 2 games that are at Citi Field. By the way, Barstool, the ballpark, let's go out and let's fucking scream at Alvarez and scare the shit out of him a little bit with some New York fucking hospitality here. Go on the We Gotta Believe social media. You can see the link to get your Barstool, the ballpark. Pavs, if you could put the link in the chat there for anyone who wants to come out, drink your face off, eat some food, and scream at the Astros and watch. I think the Mets are going to come out. Like, Buck's going to look to send a message in that first game. And that's the first game of the series. I think he's going to be like, we're not the team that just got their dicks kicked in Houston, hopefully healthy. And we don't have we have Valdez and I think Garcia. are the two that are pitching next week as of now.
I think we missed Verlander again because he pitches this weekend.
Yeah. So we got the Marlins coming up next though. Alcantara on Friday. Good chance of a first real losing streak here. Aguilar is going to be playing, but I don't know, man. Again, anything worse than 2 out of 3, even with an Alcantara, I would consider that a failure.
Alcantara is your new Scherzer. It's just a motherfucker for you, Clem.
What am I saying? What am I saying wrong?
Well, a second ago it was Alcantara, I think you said.
And I got the Mario in my head because they were just talking Mario.
Funny. Sometimes you motherfuckers make fun of me for Mario or saying Alcantara and shit like that. I mean, we went through it with Beltran. But I mean, there was a time where I kept calling him Alcantara every time I said physically I couldn't say the word right. So
we'll give him a nickname that's never been used before. We'll call him the Sandman.
Yeah, no one's ever done that. And by the way, we heard that the Astros are using Diaz's blaster jacks. No. I don't know why the Nationals play it a lot. Apparently the Astros are doing it. I don't know if this is like a new age thing, but back in the day, unless it was like Billy Wagner and when Mariano stole Billy Wagner's, that was like the only time anybody used two of the same songs. Everybody has their own fucking thing. You leave Edwin Diaz's music, keep that off your fucking speakers. There's only one guy who gets those trumpets.
I tweeted this out about the Astros. Them letting the Braves win a World Series did more damage to the game of baseball than the 2017 cheating scandal. I will go to my grave with that. Them letting the Braves and their fans have a World Series ruined the game.
No, they really are that bad. And I hate to even give them credit because I know that's going to make the Chirp crew come out even harder. But like the Yankees were this, the Yankees are these like 27 rings. We're better than you, World Series or bust type of fans, as they should be. And the Braves fans, it's like you're the opposite of that somehow. And I'm like, you just won a fucking World Series, and this is how you guys act. It's very off-putting, very unbecoming. If I'm ever like that after the Mets win a World Series, just make fun of me relentlessly because Braves fans are just like, ugh, this is how you do your victory lap. Like this is what you're saying and how you're talking. Give me a break. You guys are the worst.
We're talking scheduling and winning percentages. Yeah. This is a fucking again, pay them no mind. I'm not looking at you dudes. I'm looking past you. All I care about is the 25 fucking idiots in Queens and whatever guys come up because they all get hit by pitches or get hurt in crazy ways. So yeah, Marlins again. This day off, these 2 days off this week were incredible. The way the schedule has broken, where there's no late games, there's a bunch of days off in spots we wouldn't usually get them. This is an enjoyable baseball season right now. So enjoy it while it's here, boys. We got the Marlins, then obviously Houston, then the Rangers. So like finding out who's on the Rangers is going to be fun next week, right? I couldn't tell you like more than 3 guys on the squad.
Bro,
right now.
Gun to my head, I couldn't tell you fucking anybody. I just want to say before we sign off, like, God bless you, Clem. Hope you're right. There's been a lot of times you've had your finger on the pulse of this team. I think this is going to be our rough patch and our first one. And I just want people to know, like, that happens. Okay. And, and if the Braves go ahead and go on a sweep streak again, they're going to cut into the lead. That's how it's going to happen. It's still only June. We're still very injured, like still have not had a bad streak until now. I'm preaching and I'm just shouting into the abyss because no one is going to pay attention to this or listen to what I say. But like, goddamn, just show an ounce of fucking slack, an ounce of like logic. Think about like who's out there. It's like Meek's always first to point out. It's like this is our 7th starting pitcher, and we're putting like our eighth starting pitcher with a couple replacement players in the lineup, and we had to pitch our like last man on the roster in the high leverage spot because, our bullpen is taxed or injured as well. And like, you lose games to the Cy Young winners and you lose games to the defending, AL crown, and you lose games to the good teams, and when you string a couple together, it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen right now, to be honest. But I hope I'm wrong. I've been wrong. Clem has been right. 96 is the number. I've been wrong about a lot with this team so far. So please, God, let it be wrong again. But if it's not, just please don't be the worst fucking fan base in the world.
If there was a couple words, Kevin, what would you say to the fan base no matter what happens, win, lose,
probably like you should put faith in the. I think you gotta believe.
Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.